The Last Gift of Freddie, a story of music, memory, and farewell. There are stories that belong to the stage, loud, bright, crowned with applause, and there are stories that happen in quiet rooms, behind closed doors, where no one sees the weight a person carries. This is one of those stories. It happened in the final years of Freddie Mercury's life, though few knew how ill he had already become. London outside his window moved as always. Buses whispered along the wet pavement. Nights were heavy with fog, and the city hummed far below. But inside Garden Lodge, Freddie's world was shrinking into a softer, calmer rhythm. Only a very small circle of people visited him then. Among them were his bandmates, Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon. They no longer talked about stadiums or world tours. The sparkle of Queen's thunderous concerts had given way to something quieter, more fragile, a silent agreement that time was running out. One cold afternoon, Brian arrived at the house carrying a notebook of unfinished melodies. Freddie was already at the piano wrapped in a light robe, a cup of tea steaming beside him. "Play it," Freddie whispered. His voice was thin but steady. Brian hesitated. "It's not ready, just a sketch." "All the better," Freddie smiled. "Sketches are honest. They don't pretend." Brian played, a gentle, rising sequence of notes, hopeful and sorrowful at the same time, like a light appearing in mist. Freddie closed his eyes. He listened as if he were hearing music underwater, slowly reaching for it. When Brian stopped, Freddie remained still for a long moment. "Give me a moment," he finally said. He took a breath, then another, and began to sing. The first notes were soft, then stronger, then unmistakably Freddie. It wasn't perfect. His voice had lost some of its old power, but something else had taken its place, something raw, stripped of every defense. It was the voice of a man who knew he didn't have many tries left, and so he gave everything, every time. Brian lowered his head. He didn't want Freddie to see the tears. When they finished, Freddie leaned back, exhausted. "You must promise me," he said, "that if anything happens, you'll finish this song." "We will," Brian answered quietly. But Freddie shook his head. "No, you must finish it in your way, not in mine. This is my gift to you three, a piece of me that you must shape." He said it so calmly that Brian had no words. In the months that followed, Freddie recorded several more vocal tracks. He insisted on working even on days when standing was a struggle. The sessions grew shorter, quieter, and more delicate. Sometimes he would rest between lines, breathing slowly, waiting for strength to return. "Write as much music as you can," he told the band. "I'll sing it. I don't have much time." They brought him everything, fragments, pieces, half-finished ideas. Freddie turned them into something living. One evening, after a long recording session, he told Roger, "Darling, when you hear my voice years from now, don't think of pain. Think of the joy I had making music. That's what remains." And then one day, the sessions ended. The piano closed. London continued its quiet march toward winter. After Freddie passed, months later, Brian returned to the recordings. Dozens of tapes, hundreds of takes. He listened not as a guitarist, but as a friend hearing a final conversation. It took them years to finish the album. For every note, they imagined how Freddie would have wanted it, or how he would have argued, insisted, laughed. There were days they felt his presence so strongly that they worked in silence, afraid to break the spell. When at last Made in Heaven was complete, the band gathered to listen. Freddie's voice rose over the speakers, clear, warm, alive. It felt like he had stepped back into the room, only for a few minutes, to sing something he hadn't finished telling them. In that moment, Brian realized what Freddie's final gift truly was. Not a song, not a melody, but the reminder that some friendships outlive even the last breath, that art continues where the artist stops, and that a voice once given to the world never really disappears. Freddie had left them music, yes, but he had also left them courage. And somewhere in the quiet corners of Garden Lodge, where a piano still waits in the light of an old window, it's easy to imagine a soft voice whispering, "Go on, dear, finish it." If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach more listeners and keeps new ones coming. Sweet dreams, and thank you for being here.